Welcome back to Sugar Tanks. It's little, very few people watch it, but it's cute. Come on, it's cute.
Well, I mean, most of it's cute. The spiky gray things are a little...
Less cute?
Less cute.
Yeah, see, it's not cute. It's just less cute.
It's like a color vampire came beyond the gates and sucked the life out of the land.
We are playing with Static Squirrel, and as always, Gun Bunny, G.u.n.n, Bunny! You love it every time.
Yeah, I do. It's cute.
Continue to the better tank. You're just going to be sugar for a while until we can save up for the faster tank?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. It's, Q is the shop. Ooh, we have quite a bit of money. Shop.
We need to go to the faster tank and upgrade it.
I don't think...
Who was the...
fastest of all tanks.
Yeah, this one.
Let's give it 1 armor.
Just for fun? Okay, play this tank, because it was significantly faster when you went back.
Yeah, okay. Arrows are... There we go. I think it was the arrow keys. Yes, there we go.
I thought it was WASD.
Both work.
Oh, nifty. You prefer the arrow keys?
Well, when I'm playing with the mouse and sitting off to the side, yes. This is further away.
That makes my hand cramp.
Same thing.
Really? I'm gonna blame that on your ADD, I think. Remember, you have to hit play. Spacebar?
Spacebar!
This is like playing a Squaresoft game. I don't know where to go. Have you not walked through a door? Walk through a door, immediate cutscene. See? You need doors. Doors are key. Pew! Well, yes, we've evolved to the tanks that follow us. Pew! You are disrupting the game.
Don't shoot my candy. I said, don't shoot my candy.
You're disrupting my candy.
Oh. The game seems to be suffering today.
Pew! It is a pretty low-go game. Cute, though. And
candy.
I'm not...
Ooh, piece of candy.
I am not displeased with it. How do you feel about this for, say, $12? Because I think I paid 12.
I feel like that's an okay game. Wow, whoa. Game, come on.
Go home, game, you're drunk. Don't leave candy behind. You got a lot of tank to upgrade with your 1 armor.
Ah!
That if you keep this up, you're really going to need. I can tell you're focusing. I have to bait you to talk to me.
It's a lot of bullets, and I don't like it.
No, my candy. Don't steal my candy.
Exactly. Look how good I done. I only got shot twice.
And you're so cute.
I have a star.
Alright. In real-life tanks, what is your favorite tank and why?
In real-life tanks?
Well, in sugar tanks, I'm going to assume you're playing it right now.
No one did give me candy.
Cheap.
Jerk. Anyway, you know, I don't...
Well,
I've never really thought about my favorite, but the one I probably have to say, for the games I play, I would probably have to go with the Panthers.
because?
Okay, it's just a ledge, you just drive off, got it. I really like the way that, I mean, now, that being said, in reality, this was not true, because they weren't built that well, but, ow, nice driving, numbnut.
You know the classic rules. Who makes the Panther?
The World War II German tank, so it was designed with a long, high-velocity 75 that could really reach out and touch face. The armor, while it wasn't really fantastic, considering it was supposed to sit back at a distance and snipe, was good enough.
It's like you. 1 armor. Sufficient.
Yeah, well, more than 1, but yeah. Oh, come on.
You hit your own candy.
I know.
That's on you for not cleaning up your candy.
So it was a good tank, but I mean, it's hard to not go back to the Sherman for the simple reason that it was just...
Country, time, remember the rules.
Okay. America, and like World War II and on, and then whoever they sold it to. because it was the good enough tank that no matter what you were doing, it would fill the role.
It's the all-around tank.
Yeah, it wasn't the fastest, it wasn't the most armor, didn't have the best gun, but it could do everything well enough that it was hard to catch it somewhere where it wasn't useful at all.
See, now I know that tanks have a lot of trouble in two major scenarios. Swamp, because of the Vietnam War, and desert terrain. So does the Sherman apply to these two wars? I'm sorry I didn't name the Iraq War. I meant to. My inside voice said it.
Yeah, it does, and to be honest, some places still use retrofitted.
It's just, was it applied?
Yes. A lot of countries, even today, still have retrofitted Shermans, which, I mean, tank warfare has gotten really different since World War II. World War II, it was reasonably expected that your armor would be good enough to save you if you were in the right spot and far enough away. That has changed.
Okay, explain how. We're going to learn about tanks today.
Clearly. Time to go to the shop. The World War II armor penetration, like the
Not this tank. Don't upgrade this tank.
No. The German Long 88 and the 75 were pretty much... And the Soviet 122mm cannon were hitting the top end of what...
Hey, you can get a bomb.
Woo! We're hitting the top end of the armor penetration, and they were around... At the high end, like the mid-200s. A modern-day vehicle with a similar-sized cannon is going to be somewhere around the mid-600s.
Well, I know that most tanks now are very remote operated in lots of ways. They tend to have a driver, but they're not manned the same way.
No, most of them still have a full crew.
Is it still a full crew? I just know there's a lot of things that are much more remote.
I'm pretty sure the Abrams, for example, has a crew of 4 or 5.
Okay, what is an Abrams?
Abrams is the American main battle tank. It has been since... When did it... I don't remember when it first came out, but they experimented with a lot of tanks for a long time after the Sherman. Pershings, I think the Pershing was next. And T-29s, T-34s, big, heavy tanks with large guns, lots of armor. But they came to the problem that it doesn't matter how big your gun is, it doesn't matter how thick your armor is. As weapons became just better, it was more important to not get shot in the first place.
Yeah, don't be there, don't get shot.
And you needed to have a hard-hitting gun that could incapacitate quickly.
So this is a lot more like your sugar tank choice, where you've picked less armor for more speed and more maneuverability.
Yeah, kind of. Because it's, everybody came to the conclusion that the best armor is not being shot in the first place. And it's kind of hard to argue that.
Yep, just don't be there. Just don't be there.
Yeah, it's once upon a time, anyway. The biggest difference in the two styles, I guess you could say, is that modern tanks are usually only really armored from the front. So for example, even an early World War II anti-tank gun, I mean like, 45mm kind of thing, little guys, relatively speaking, can go through the side and rear of a modern tank.
It strikes me as odd that they wouldn't try to do something to keep the tracks safe. Because I would think that would be invariably the most, that's the thing that's going to get hit and debilitate you as a tank.
Yeah, well, mobility kills is what they're called. And that's true. They do put effort into it. You'll see, usually over tanks, you'll see an armored fald.
What is a fald? Is that like your cars where you have the little sweep over the edge?
No, it's I think it's actually a reference to medieval armor. Back in the days of knights and kings and horses, you'd have like a a literal skirt. You'd wear an armored skirt hanging over your hips and upper thighs because you couldn't really armor that sufficiently.
And maintain movement.
Yeah, and maintain movement. So you had an armored fall that would sit over your thighs and your hips on top of the shin plates. So they do something very similar now, and it's usually hung with reactive armor.
Okay.
Which is basically outward-facing shaped charges that, when they're hit, explode for the purpose of defeating the energy of the incoming munitions. Now, usually, this is... I can't remember how it works exactly, but it's dubious effectiveness against some things and really good against others. Especially, like, it's almost worthless in a modern war now because the top-down attacks that are everywhere now.
Ooh, boss level.
Yeah. So, for example, a modern anti-tank weapon launched from just a dude.
Or are you going to grind and get a little bit further?
I haven't played this level yet.
Oh, yes, because the boss hadn't unlocked. I'm sorry. I misinterpreted my environment.
Yeah, so the... Well, I got it. Like I said, okay, thank you.
Aim for that whole time. That was my plan.
That was the plan all along. Yeah.
You were saying, as you're teaching everyone about tanks while we play this lovely, happy little game.
Yeah. The... Jeeves, not paying attention, getting shot. Anyway, because...
Can't teach evasion.
Yeah, there's a lot on the screen right now. Because of the way anti-tank weapons work, they attack in a top-down manner. So that is to say, traditionally you have a shape charge or a solid round that the idea is it will hit the tank, go through the tank, and then cause damage either through explosive filler or spalling.
Now, what is a shape charge?
A shape charge is a heat round. Basically the way it works is you have a shaped explosive in a cone, a hollow cone, with the hollow cone pointed at the target. And then you line this hollow cone in a thin sheet of copper, so that when it hits and detonates, the thin sheet of copper is going to turn into a molten jet propelled by the explosion, and because it's shaped, it shapes it into a jet going forwards. And this is what actually goes through the tank. So you basically have a stream of molten metal that's actually going to go through and cause the damage.
Wow. Okay, so you said you have shape charges and you have solid charges.
Yeah, you have shape charges, you have filler rounds, which are what was used by Germany and the US, and I think Japan's limited armaments were mostly filler rounds. So the idea is that the shell will go forward, hit the target, ignite a fuse in the nose of the shell, so that it will explode a few milliseconds after arming, so that hopefully the shell is inside the enemy vehicle when this explodes, filling the vehicle with shrapnel. It's not nice.
Yeah, that sounds mega awful.
It was. The other one is solid shot, where it does its damage by just having a high muzzle velocity.
Now, you said these are in a top-down fashion.
Uh-oh.
Whoop.
Womp womp. Try again. Top-down attacks are shaped charges, but they're designed so that they will use a radar system or something similar to detect when they're over top of the vehicle. So instead of trying to go through the relatively thick and armored front or sides that can have reactive armor and defense systems on it, it goes through the relatively thinly armored top. Because you can't armor everywhere on a vehicle and still have it be useful.
Well, there is a point in which it will just fundamentally become too heavy.
Yeah. Enter late war Germany and the Mouse tank.
Explain the Mouse tank.
It was a super heavy that was so heavily armored and had such a big gun that...
I assume this is late stage World War II.
Late World War II. It was so heavily armored, had such a big gun, multiple guns, that honestly, fighting it as another tank would have been an exercise in terror and futility, except for... This is late World War II. There are planes and bombs and shaped charges, and at this
everybody's
point,
just trying to top-down blow the thing up.
Not at that point, no. I'm getting very distracted. The problem was, and this is the problem that everybody learned from World War II, is 300, 400 millimeters of armor doesn't mean anything, because you can hit it with a shaped charge, or you can hit... or you can bomb it, and it will just become useless. Because the solid shot that the British started with was only good for around 200 millimeters of armor. But by the time they moved to late war and started using sabot rounds, that climbed up to almost 300.
What is a sabot round? Sabot?
Yeah, sabot. I'm trying to remember what
I know,
is.
I'm quizzing you on the fly. I'd like to give Static Squirrel credit because it is really late at night and he has been working a lot lately, which is why we haven't had many videos with him. And I'm just sitting here going, explain this. You are my book of, engineering and information. He's very good at military engineering. So I think you're doing very well on the fly. I mean, it's not like I'm rocking the most, tank-oriented audience. And I think you're really explaining things to people quite well.
I remember. Sabot rounds work by having... They fire a full-sized round out of the tank gun, but the actual penetrating part is much smaller.
So it sheds a jacket, almost?
Yeah, so it sheds a jacket to have a super dense, super hard round that goes in and actually does the damage. So it's...
Look, you did it!
Hooray! It really lacks in post-pen damage because it's a relatively small round, but it has such a high penetration that it's usually preferred because it's the inside of a tank. There's almost nothing you can hit that won't do a lot. So it was always you discovered that, you don't have to have a gigantic round that destroys everything in the tank in a single shot. You don't have to actually blow the tank up to disable it. Knocking out the engine, knocking out the gun, knocking out the crew.
In
that's
technology-wise, which do you think was better? The evolution of the shot or the evolution of the tank?
Oh, the shot got way better, way faster.
No, just which do you think was more relevant?
Oh, the shot.
The shot, for sure.
Yeah, because it was one of those things that even an old gun could be made useful again.
With a better shot.
With a better shot, because...
What's an example of that?
An example of that would be a squeeze bore.
What is that?
Squeeze bore was... When it was starting to get late war, Germany was really starting to suffer because they had a whole bunch of older 25, 50 millimeter guns that just weren't up to the job anymore. So they were really struggling, especially with their industry being bombed into oblivion, to produce the arms and munitions to keep fighting a war. So they had the squeeze bore, which the idea was you'd put a round in it that was slightly too big for the barrel. And the whole point of it was you'd pack a little more propellant behind it, so it would push it through the barrel anyway, and you get the squeeze bore. So you'd load, for example, like a 28 millimeter round into a 25 millimeter cannon.
Did this also end in, if that propellant doesn't go off properly, I could see some bad things going.
A lot of bad things did happen. The barrels didn't last long.
I imagine a lot of people died in tanks that exploded backwards because of the pressure. Yes and no, not as much as you would think.
Not died, but there was definitely a lot of injuries from breaches giving out, because lo and behold, they're not really supposed to do that.
Well, yeah, there's a reality there. Cannons full of silverware comes to mind. This is not what the cannon was built to do.
Yeah. Pretty much. So Ow. So these were a whole bunch of late war innovations that were not really that great. Like, they were at best stopgaps.
I feel like they were solutions of the moment.
Yeah, largely. They worked, air quotes, kind of. But they were imperfect, to say the least.
You're doing very well. Look at you.
But
You have lots of candy.
the advent of things like
You should get this heart, though.
The advent of things like shaped charges and Sabo and fin stabilized discarding Sabo.
Okay, what's that?
It's a dart. Like, literally, it's a dart.
It's like a lawn dart?
Yeah, it's a long dart made out of usually tungsten because it's super hard. And it took...
Also heats at a really intense level. You can make tungsten very hot.
Before it melts, yeah.
Yeah.
It took guns that had penetrations in the, 200-300s and put them up to 6. Like, it wasn't even a contest. The big bad, the big bad. It's actually easier to fight the one big bad than it is to fight dozens of little guys.
Yeah, well, that's because he doesn't provide as much, like, menace all over the map.
Can't remember how to use a bomb.
It was the opposing click. I think it's the...
Right click.
Right click. Oh, you just missed that one.
Whee. Ow.
That was right in your booty. That was full bum shot right there.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
I broke it. No, we're good.
Oh, we're fine. He really struggles when the boss dies. Maybe because he explodes in candy.
Oops, candy. Oops, candy.
I'd stop doing this if it didn't work every time. Let's just start with this first next time.
Yeah. Wee, candy. I have a lot of it now. Oh my.
Yeah, I feel you can max him out a little bit.
And we're off. But yeah, long story short, the evolution of munitions to defeat armor vastly outpaced actual armor.
That makes sense.
And so, most places gave up on armor and decided it's better to just be fast.
Alright, let's go to the shop, upgrade you.
Ba-doop. Sky.
Look at you, you're gonna get bombs and health.
Health, bomb. That's really slow. I don't think the game meant for you to have that much at once.
I don't think it expects that's how you're gonna drop it.
Alright, well.
It's kind of struggling.
We're upgraded. We're happy.
We're feisty, and we do new things.
And off to the races next time.
Yeah, off to the races next time. Thank you, Static Squirrel, for all that interesting tank knowledge.
Hooray.
I'm glad I've been listening to you long enough. I at least know what to ask. I am tank insufficient. I'm not good at cars either, though. So tanks are just a car.
I'm not very good at cars either.
They're a boom car. That's what they are.
It's a car that explodes.
Thank you all for... Yes, on purpose. It explodes on purpose. It's not a Tesla. I mean, it's totally fine. Thank you all for joining us playing Sugar Tanks with Gun Bunny, G.u.n.n, Bunny, and Static Squirrel.
Hello.
Thank you so much for playing with us. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye. All right.
Tee-hee, damn it.
No.
Where's your tee-hee?
No, I am not the Michelin Man. I do not tee-hee. There is no joy in mudlight. Oh, I found my dice.
Why does the Michelin Man tee-hee?
I don't know.